There we go. So for this impact session, I'm actually going to briefly just cover the 5 levels of impact that we work to within the PI model and the principles of how we work with this impact so that we can achieve the results that we achieve. The 5 levels came from research that was done that mapped across neuroscience of individuals to most effective organizational structure, to Maslow's hierarchy of needs and sociology, that enabled us to identify what a healthy ecosystem looks like, what healthy communities look like, and how we can take the characteristics of the 5 levels of thinking into our strategies and think in those 5 levels on purpose to be able to deliver the most robust and impactful strategies. Now, the key here, as indicated by the inverted pyramid, is actually identifying that the most impactful way of achieving our results is by staying at that level 5 with regards to taking action, understanding where we are with that action with regards to monitoring and driving our learning cycles from that level 5. Now, what that does is enable us to, if you like, start with the end in mind. We achieve a far greater reverse engineering from the end result that we want, the consequence that we want to achieve. And then from that, we can purposely plan, and it's like actually dropping a pin, understanding that all the other levels will line up perfectly to what we want to be achieving with our impact. So what tends to happen is people start off with level 1 looking up, and what we do, we identify our level 5. We are providing things like education, presentations of information. We tend to go, the trend and the pattern tends to be level 5, 4, 3, 2 for the time we deliver. If we're learning something and things, what I would use with my clients when I'm coaching would be a 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then seeing where we are as we evaluate in that pattern. So there's some really interesting patterns that are emerging with regards to how we monitor and learn from our delivery. So level 5 is our impact or visionary level based on our the resulting consequences of our action. Level 4 is the future plan, the organizational mission level that encompasses the strategy, motivation, and human intention. It's really the people level and how they're motivated to drive forward the intentions that they have within a strategy. And for us, we always want to focus on conscious learning as we plan ahead and in what we're delivering at the same time. Level 3 is the functioning level. This is the operations level, how things work, how projects are managed, what action we take. Level 5, 4, 3 in this way, which Wendy can speak as is the expert on, actually marries up to the head, heart and gut when we look at embraining and how our neurophysiology is aligned with the 5 levels. And what we're finding is that all the models that work map back out to the 5 levels, and we're actually using the 5 levels as just the common language, if you like, that enables us to interact with each other. And by us learning it, we can actually identify what's happening elsewhere with regards to our monitoring, our discussions, and our ability to improve continuously on what we're doing. Level 2 is the transactional level. So this is the exchange and the processes. Things like communication, sales is a transactional level, and a lot of behaviors are transactional. So level 2 is that transactional level. Level 1 is the resources, which are the innate assets or units that sit unless they're transacted or exchanged in some way or used in some way at a level 2. 3, 4, and 5, when working in a healthy system, are the 3 that are the ideally work in alignment. 1 and 2 rolls up into a 3 to achieve functioning and operations. And this can map out, I can go on for a lot longer, but this maps out in businesses and any other ecosystems. We're able to diagnose and audit pretty quickly where there's gaps in the strategy or how things are working. There's also a whole area in the model that takes the monetary value according to value created on the 5 levels. But the key thing for what we want to be speaking about today with regards to the SDGs and the International Green Council is how we can achieve the greatest impact through collaborations, and that's always going to be top down in how we do that. That's the fastest and most effective way that we can achieve what we want to for the greater good. Any questions on the 5 levels? Fantastic. So how do the SDGs map out to the 5 levels? So we did this as one of our earliest evaluations on how we look at taking the SDGs. This came out of the conclusion that any business in the state that the world's in right now, all business should be using the SDGs as a way of aligning to the greater good and strategies. If you're going to take a strategy, in my experience, it's all pretty random on where your strategies are at. But if we can support businesses in delivering strategies that align to the UN SDGs, we know that we're delivering good for the greater good, if that makes sense. With regards to marketing, business development, it's for the most sustainable alignment to the global community, which is also the global market. One of the ways that actually came out of my meeting with Asen this week is this idea that actually the walls of an organization are a bit of an illusion, because your market starts with your employees. And if we can help companies realize that they are part of the community and they have that impact on their local community as well as the global community, especially with multinationals, they can start understanding how they can benefit from recognizing that their community starts off internally. And it completely aligns with marketing and branding, that your branding starts off with the behavior of your employees. It's a bit of a marketing 101, but a lot of organizations don't realize that. So when you take the UN SDGs and you map them out to the 5 levels, you can see that they span across very clearly with the partnerships, peace and justice, strong institutions and sustainable cities and communities are all that level 5. And that aligns with our model as well, which, like I said earlier, includes a lot of sociology and the spiral dynamics, the development of societies and healthy communities. So it's not really surprising. Level 4 is the planning level. So the SDGs that we have on that level 4 are ones that require future planning, more complex strategies, and a lot of sort of purposeful building up for those. Level 3 are the functioning levels, how these elements function, life on land, life underwater, inequalities. It's pretty immediate to bring in the level 3 functioning level. We know how to do that. Level 4 we kind of need to work towards, and level 5 is something I think that we are, as a global community, actually learning how to. It's a bit of a visionary, intangible achievement. A lot of our work at the moment is monitoring and reporting on the science of collaborations and partnerships, where it's a win-win, win-win-win-win. And I think that's the only way that we're going to create that expansive, collective impact, and that has to start off with the shared commitment, which we're doing through PI. For level 2 and level 1, these are the transactional levels, whether it's people or the products that we're producing, and level 1 is the resources, again with people, things like clean water and sanitation. So when we look at forming our strategies, we actually started off looking at how we can build in a whole ecosystem with the strategies, making sure that we've got all 5 levels represented. And what we're seeing now through collaboration is that we can achieve strategies that actually support all 17 UN SDGs, which is fantastic, because that means we're affecting all of them at the same time, and our collaborations are expansive enough to achieve that. So as a criteria, that's impact excellence, as we would say, within our model. Moving on to our, if you like, portfolio of causes that we have under PI, I've also mapped them out for you according to where they line up on the SDGs. Sorry, not the SDGs, taking the SDGs as our shared purpose and mapping them out according to the levels, so you can see how they influence each other. And actually one rolls up into the other. So what you have is the International Green Council is your level 5 of a level 5, and that drops on the 4 and 3 according to territory. Asad's going to be going, taking you into more detail onto the International Green Council and the work that we're doing. We have 2 level 4s, which is our future plan and focus, which actually makes sense because we're in these, we're in a state that we've been, we're in the startup state still. PI was registered September 2020, so we're coming up to 3 months off our first year anniversary. We're in that startup mode, so it makes sense that we would have a lot of planning and organising for what we want to be achieving. Level 4 is driven, so the vertical for level 4 is research, the research vertical. For the one that's next to level 5, below that we're researching arts and the role of arts and culture on humanity, and sports. What we recognised was that arts and sports transcends different communities and transcends the monetary aspects of community, how wealthy a community is. From the other perspective, on a more corporate perspective, Brands for Humanity is the vertical by which we're outreaching into the corporate, and we're working with those that care about the community and are willing to align their strategies. In the UAE, the vehicle by which we're delivering that is the registered marketing consultancy called Your Neurocoach. And we're also supporting startups and CEOs through Revolution, through the system, through the Revolutioners that are coming on board that are working with us, and other outreach projects to be able to share our learnings. On a level 3, and this is the functioning level, we've got the education in igniting sparks. We've got legacy, which educates on corporate, how businesses are managed, and wealth angels, which is wealth management from an individual point of view. And then on level 2, that's the community level, is how we're engaging with communities through on the Thriving Roots vertical, and things like sustainable resources and people and animals roll up into those projects on that community level. Murtaza's been the catalyst in getting this all going. It's been absolutely fantastic. And what we've seen is that actually our Thriving Roots projects have a direct impact and engage with our level 5 projects. And we find that that dynamic is one that is really interesting for us to be monitoring now. Okay.